Right, good morning everybody, and thank you so much for joining us. I'm just going to say a few words about the format today. I'm going to start off with a very brief introduction. I'm then going to hand over to various members of my team who will each say a few words. We're then going to have a Q&A session. And as you can see, in addition to my team, I have a team with me today. I have Izzy and Eleanor, the head girl and deputy head girl. And from year 7, I have Ed and Mabel. So as I said, I'm just going to make a very brief introduction. This is a very happy school and the children enjoy being here. The academic and pastoral support are superb, and not only do the pupils leave with good grades, but they leave ready for the challenges of the next stage in their lives as self-confident young adults. We cater for every pupil, whether they are weak, middle or high ability, whether they are musical, whether they are creative, or whether they are sporty. Our small classes, the extensive support we provide, and the wide range of extracurricular activities means that they can all thrive. With 630 pupils in the school, we're big enough that we can offer a very broad curriculum, and at sport we can excel, but we're small enough that we can know each child individually and support their individual needs. Parents often ask me what I like most about the school. I love the fact that as well as being excellent in all areas, the school is very unpretentious. The pupils are extremely lucky to benefit from the education we provide, but they and the school are very down to earth. And as was noted in the last inspection, they display no sense of self-entitlement. I'm now going to hand over to Craig Fast, who is Deputy Head Academic. Over to you, Mr. Fast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm going to talk to you about some of the more nitty-gritty and finer details about our academic provision and some of the excellent things that we provide at this school. I'm going to focus more on year 7 to 9 right now because the majority of parents out there watching this will be parents of students thinking about joining for year 7 to 9. And it's important to recognize we offer a broad range of subjects from music to computer science, history to drama, to make sure that our students get the most wide-ranging experience in their first few years, that they're prepared to make their choices as they move on to GCSE and A-level. One important thing to note at year 7 and 8 is we have a cross-curricular program between the humanities and art, which culminates in a trip to battle at the end of the year, which really helps them connect everything up from their different subjects and really broaden out their understanding of all the connections in this world between everything they study. Further up the school, there are additional subjects such as economics, food and nutrition, and media studies that are introduced at GCSE. And then at the sixth form, we offer 21 A-levels and 3 BTEC subjects, and this includes psychology, business studies, further maths, photography, and philosophy. So there really is an endless amount of choice for students to choose whatever direction suits their future aspirations and their interests. I'll talk a little bit about our exam results, and we're extremely proud of the achievement of our students in recent years. For example, in the last 3 years, we've averaged over 65% 9 to 7 at GCSE and over 98% 9 to 4. At A level in the last 3 years, we've had over 55% A star and A and nearly 80% A star to B. So we're really proud of those results, and we've been improving steadily year on year. One of the things that some parents ask about is our SEND provision for students with special educational needs or individual requirements. And we go a long way to making sure that our SEND department provides individualized support for students with particular needs. We also have screening at the beginning of year 7 and in other years to check for things like dyslexia and other educational challenges where we can support students. There's a Lexia program to help with literacy. There's an accelerated reader program that students do from years 7 to 9 to help make sure reading is a core part of what they do, as it's shown that those students who read and enjoy reading are much more likely to succeed further on in their studies. In terms of reports and assessments and that sort of thing, we have 3 reports sent home to parents each year. Assessments, we have 1 set of assessments per term, and there's 1 tutor evening and 1 parents evening for each year group each year to meet with the students' tutors and to meet with their teachers and to monitor progress. The final thing I want to talk about is the school's unique educational vision, and it's one of the things that I'm particularly proud of for our school, where we recognize that education is more than just about learning facts and figures. And we really think that it's vital that our students leave Lingfield College equipped with the skills and the learning dispositions required for life beyond school. So our core curriculum is underpinned by our progressive educational vision. Through the broad range of curricular and co-curricular experiences available, our key intention is to foster the skills, mindsets, attributes required for our students to be effective learners for life and lifelong learners, and to find success in our increasingly unpredictable and changing world. So we are confident that our students are not just leaving with a bunch of knowledge, but they're leaving with the skills to be successful in life. And that is a key part of our academic provision. Thank you very much. That's, in a nutshell, a brief overview of our academic provision. But if you have any further questions about what we offer academically or anything about that, then we'll be open for questions in the chat at the end. I'll pass back over to Mr. Bull, and thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much for that, Mr. Fast. I would now like to hand over to Mrs. Brown, our Deputy Head Pastoral.
Good morning, everyone. So we're incredibly proud at Lingfield that we have excellent pastoral care. In terms of tutor groups, the average size of a tutor group is 15 in year 7 to 11, and this just varies depending on how many students we have in the year and how many forms we split them into. So, for example, our current year 7 has 88 students, and that's divided into 6 forms, whereas our current year 9 has 112 students, and that's split into 7 forms. In years 7 and 8, the tutors and the head of year stay in those year groups. So, for example, Mr. Hart is always head of year 7, and his team has been with him for many years. This means that they become experts in what year 7s need in terms of the induction process and as they move through year 7. Whereas in years 9 to 11, those tutors move with the students, as does the head of year. So, for example, Mr. Gonashon is head of year 11 at the moment, and he started with those pupils in year 9. The advantage of that is that they are experts at what they do. So they have been through the process before. They understand how to support the students when they choose their options, as they begin their GCSE courses, and then in year 11, how to guide them with revision, thinking about their next move in terms of post-16, what options they're going to choose, etc. It's also really lovely that those tutors are there for them for the whole of those 3 years. They get to know them really, really well, and there's always tears when they leave on the last day in year 11, even more so this year when we had our sudden departure on March the 20th. So in terms of form time is always on a Monday and a Friday, and it takes place during period 1. So we have just over an hour with the students on a Monday and a Friday. During that time, we do lots of things with them. So we have a variety of assemblies. So sometimes they will have a year assembly with their year group to talk about things that are particularly important at that time for those children. We also have whole school assemblies that are taken by different departments, sometimes the headmaster, sometimes it might be about something we're doing for charity. We also have house assemblies, and this can be the students just in that house talking about getting ready for an inter-house event, which I'll talk about a little bit later, or it might be a whole school house assembly where we talk about some fundraising. So recently we had a harvest festival assembly and we collected donations for Crawley Open House. So what else do we do during form time? Well, we learn PSHE. We also debate topical issues. So, for example, this week, the tutor groups were debating the issue of, have we forgotten about the environment this year? And they then vote on that, having looked at lots of the different sides of the argument. We also get them ready for careers, so we have an extensive careers programme. And the other thing we have is a brilliant peer mentoring scheme. So our sixth formers are trained by the school counsellor to provide support for a variety of issues. And they do that with students from year 7 to 11, and we pair them up with a mentor that we think will be able to suit their needs. And they meet on a Monday morning. And at the moment, they're kind of taking a stroll around the grounds. Although pre-COVID, they went up to the sixth form cafe and they had a cookie and a drink while they played a game with their mentor or just had a chat. The emotional well-being of our students is something that we take incredibly seriously. So we have a counsellor called Pip Tuppen, who is here 4 days a week, and she leads the welfare team. So we have, in the sixth form, we have a full-time welfare officer called Sharon Walton. And in years 7 to 11, the heads of year have an administrator, but she also helps us with the welfare of the children. We take mental health really seriously, and we do lots of activities in form time to support this. And we also have a mental health awareness week. So that's all from me for now, but I'm happy to answer any questions you have if you pop them into the chat, and I'll hand over to Mr. Ball.
So thank you very much, Mrs. Brown. Now I'm going to hand over to Mr. Casey, who is Director of Sport. Now, just this week, over the last couple of weeks, we've restarted gently inter-school sport, and we have a match this morning, and Mr. Casey is, I believe, out on the pitches somewhere. So, Mr. Casey, are you there?
I am pitch side. I do feel a little bit like a Sky Sports presenter this morning. And in fact, we've just gone 1-0 down, so the second half is just starting. So I will do my very best to give you my full attention. But in the background, which you may be able to see, there is a football match going on. If I can try and show you there. But in terms of the co-curricular program, the children do have a great deal of opportunity from a co-curricular standpoint. The program is broad and balanced, giving pupils a large array of clubs and activities to choose from, both during lunchtime and after school. Alongside these enrichment or academic-centred clubs, co-curricular sport, music and drama play a very large part within the school life, being a very strong backbone intertwined into the school fabric, providing your children with the opportunity to be exposed to our excellent facilities, coupled, of course, with outstanding teaching across all of these areas. A state-of-the-art performing arts centre is a centrepiece of our music and drama department, providing a teaching and rehearsal space for so many of our talented pupils across all year groups. In terms of showcasing this, we have 2 concerts and 2 large productions every year, the standard of which is truly outstanding. In sport, pupils of all abilities have the opportunity to participate and compete in a multitude of areas, regardless of ability level. And we try to be as inclusive as we possibly can. So even if they're starting that sport, or if they're playing for the first time, or if they're elite level at club, county, or even playing nationally, there's definitely a place for them. Girls and boys hockey, football, cricket, athletics, and tennis, as well as girls netball, form the basis of our major sports program. However, we do train and we do compete in many other sports too, including rugby, basketball, golf, badminton, and table tennis. So it is quite diverse across the board. With regards contact hours for PE and sport in a given week, your child will have a minimum of about 4.5 hours a week. But if they are very sporty, the opportunity to do 7 or 8 hours is commonplace. Music and sports tours also happen regularly. Obviously, pre-COVID, some of the places we've been to for some of the various sports, Amsterdam, Paris, Porto, for hockey, netball, and football. But that's just it's a quick whistle stop kind of tour and speech while I'm kind of half my eye is on you, half my attention is on the football match behind me as well. But I am here to answer any questions. So if you have anything at all you'd like to ask that I haven't addressed now, please do, or indeed email me personally as well. I'll be more than happy to contact you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Casey from Pitchside. I am now going to hand over to Mrs. Armstrong, who is our Head of Admissions.
Good morning, everybody. I'm just going to go through a few things that I hope will help clarify the admissions process. Some of you watching will have already received a link that I've sent through about online registration. We have a new system which we hope will streamline the process of applying. You just have to click the link and then you're able to make payments, register, upload documents and apply for scholarships. So that should be something that will help with your application. Just to run through deadlines which are important for Year 9 applications for 2021, please, if you could register with us by Friday next week, the 16th of October. So we'd like to hear from you as soon as possible with those Year 9 applications. If you're registering for Year 7, 2021 or year 9 deferred place 2023, the deadline for those submissions is Friday the 6th of November, and that is also the deadline for scholarship applications for those years. Our exam days, we hope will run as normal, but with just a few extra COVID safety measures in place. They will be for year 9 entry for next year, Saturday, the 7th of November, and for year 7 and year 9 deferred entry, we will have our assessments held on Saturday, the 16th of January, 2021. I'm often asked about the content of the assessments. We have 3 papers that we ask the children to sit. They are 1-hour papers. They're in English, maths and verbal reasoning. The English paper does include some comprehension work and half of creative writing. The papers are written by our heads of department, and they are based on Key Stage 2 of the national curriculum, so they should be things that the children are familiar with. The verbal reasoning paper is an hour long as well, and that is a paper similar to the Bond verbal reasoning papers that you can buy from stationers. We don't have any sample papers, unfortunately, but we try not to trip the children up. We are just trying to find out what they know in their subjects. So hopefully they will, just with a little bit of hard work at school, they will be fine to take our tests. Some parents have asked me the question of the children have missed a lot of school recently, or have some of their education has been disrupted over the last 6 months. We will take this into consideration when marking our assessments. We do know it has been a very different kind of year, and we do sympathise with the children and parents for all the extra work they've had to do at home. With regard to number of places available, for year 7, we have a total of round about 80 places available. Roughly half of those may come from our prep school. So we will roughly have about 40 to 45 places for external applicants. We generally have around 100 applications, but not everybody will be wanting to come to Lingfield as their first choice. So we do offer places, and children do tend to get their first choice school if they want Lingfield. But we may have to run a waiting list if that situation arises. Applications for year 9, we'll have about 20 or so children sitting our tests, we think, for about 10 places for next September. As part of our admissions process, to help with our decisions, we will request a reference from the children's current school, which will assist if they do get nervous at times of exams, which some of them do. And just last thing really from me is our offers or decision letters will go out early to mid-February, with a decision date usually requested by the beginning of March, whether you'd like to accept places. But we might have the waiting list, so it may be that that's a little bit later than that in reality. But if you have any further questions or would like to come to the school, we are still arranging some individual appointments. We'd be very happy to welcome you to the school, so please do email or phone up the admissions team. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Armstrong. So now I'm going to hand over to my final guest this morning, and that is Mr. Hart, the head of Year 7. Over to you, Mr. Hart.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bull. Good morning, everyone. My name is Mr. Hart, and I'm the head of Year 7. And one of the scariest times in a person's life is the transition from primary school to senior school. And the Year 6 go from being a very comfortable and confident big fish in a little pond to a worried small fish in a big pond. So therefore, at Lingfield College, we do our very best to make that transition from primary school to senior school as smooth and as comfortable as possible. So, for example, we have an induction day in June where the incoming Year 7s can attend school for the day and do various subjects like music and art and drama and PE, and also enjoy the fabulous lunches here. This helps them to get a feel for the place and realise that Lingfield College isn't so frightening and scary after all. Then the week before school starts at the end of August, we have a barbecue where all the year group can get together, they can meet their year group, they can meet their new form tutors and also get together in their forms. We also have a treasure hunt around the school which further helps the students to be familiar with their new surroundings. This is followed by a Q&A session where they can ask any questions that are bothering them, that are worrying them, and so can put their minds at ease. Then as school begins on the first day, the Year 7s are met by their friendly and experienced form teachers and are taken to their forms. And so they naturally just transition into senior school life, and the system works very smoothly, even despite COVID-19. Speaking of COVID-19, Lingfield College adapted quickly and expertly to the pandemic. We were able to continue to offer a full teaching timetable to all our students. Therefore, for the Year 7s, they continued with their normal subjects like maths and English and science, also their modern foreign languages such as German and French and Spanish. And they also continued with their humanities subjects like geography, history, philosophy and religion, music, drama, art, and one of their favorites, PE. So we look forward to welcoming your children. We'd love them to come to Lingfield College. And Lingfield College is a happy family. It really is, where every student is cared for and appreciated. We believe in academic excellence, but also want our students to feel safe and happy, and so that they can grow into mature, thoughtful and compassionate adults, as you will see shortly as Mr. Ball talks to our sixth formers and some of our Year 7 students. So then as parents, you can be confident and assured that your 11-year-olds will be lovingly pastored and taught in a family environment. Thank you so much for listening and for giving up your time. And if you've got any questions, please feel free to ask, and I'll hand back to Mr. Ball. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hart. So we've had a few questions on the chat, but please, if you'd like to ask any questions, please do put them on the chat and we will endeavour to ask them. But I'm now going to fire a few questions at my team here. I'm going to start with Ed and Mabel. Ed and Mabel, perhaps you could talk a bit about, starting with you, Mabel, about how you have found your first 3 weeks at the school.
The school's been really welcoming and it's really eased us into having new responsibilities in the new school.
And Ed, how have you found it?
So I think it's been really good. They've given us no homework for the past first week or so, which helps us settle into where we're going, where our classrooms are. So it's really good.
You mentioned homework. Now homework has started. How much are you getting, Mabel?
I think we're getting about 2 to 3 pieces a night, which I think is a reasonable amount, especially if you do it the night you get it. Because if you don't, then it'll build up and you get stressed.
And Ed, how long are you finding that homework takes you?
So you should spend 20 to 30 minutes on each sheet. So if it's 3 pieces, you'd have an hour and a half of homework a night.
Okay, great. And tell me, often coming to a new school, it can be challenging finding your way around, particularly a large school like this. Mabel, how have you found that?
I think, especially since COVID's forced us to be in a sort of bubble area, it's been much easier finding our way around school. And the first day, they showed us all the different areas and maps and places we should go.
And in terms of activities, apart from being in lessons, Ed, what else have you been doing?
Well, clubs-wise, I've done cross country, football club, and drama club, which are all really good. They're at lunchtime, and they're all really well done.
So just to say, in addition to the mainline sport, in the lower school, all the pupils are expected to do 3 activities a week, and they choose from a very wide selection of activities. I'm just going to pass over to Izzy and Eleanor now. As Mr. Fast said, we offer at A-level 21 subjects plus 3 BTECs. Choosing the right sixth form option is extremely important and often very difficult. Both of you, starting with you, Izzy, how much help did you get with choosing the right subjects?
There was lots of help from both the teachers and the students. giving you lessons so you kind of know what you're getting into before you start the subject, and you can see how they differ from the GCSE lessons, which was really helpful.
Yeah, I feel like, as you said, choosing A levels is so important, and like in year 11, it's really daunting, isn't it? You're like, wow, there's so much to choose from, but like you really do feel as though the teachers support you in making sure that the subjects are right for you, because it's really important they are, otherwise it's not.
Yeah.
And you will both now be thinking about kind of UCAS and the university admissions process. Hopefully this time next year you might either be at university or possibly having a gap year. How much help are you getting, starting with you, Izzy, with that kind of decision-making process?
Yes, there's been loads of help. We have a careers advisor here who helps us look at not just university options, apprenticeships as well, depending on what you want for you. And I didn't really have a clue what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to go to university, but wasn't too sure what course I wanted. And they basically just open your eyes to all the courses available for you. And I found the course I wanted to do, which is business management.
Yeah, so for me, I want to study medicine at uni, which is obviously a really like thorough and difficult like application process. And they set up a medic club at school in which we do help with personal statements. We get a chance to research and discuss like new like medicine things, and it just has made me feel really prepared. And I know that I get the help I need in my application, so I feel really supported.
So you've both been here, so your 7th year at the school. Each of you, what have you enjoyed most about the school?
I think for me, my favourite thing I've ever done at school is D&V, which if you don't know what it is basically is where you do walking. So you go on like an expedition for a couple of days where you sleep in a tent, you're not allowed your phones, you have to cook your own food. And it sounds, there are parts of it which are really challenging, but it's kind of the challenging part that makes it so enjoyable. And like the memories you make, I think I'll remember them forever. And it's such a good way of like pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, making new friends and like learning new skills too.
Definitely. You push yourself so much, and then you get to look back on it and feel really proud of what you've achieved.
Definitely.
So yeah, I would agree with you.
Yeah, I think the Duke of Edinburgh scheme is one of the best things we do. You know, Gold Award, which these two are doing. You have to do a 4-day expedition, which that's 7 hours a day, walking along a route that you've mapped, carrying a 10-kilogram backpack. You have to wild camp. Normally we do it in the qualifying expedition is in Ben Nevis. Unfortunately, because of COVID, we can't go this year, so the qualifying expedition is over half term, and they are fortunate they'll be camping in the school grounds for 4 days, which I'm sure that they will enjoy, and they are looking forward to. You also have to do a year's voluntary work. You have to learn a new skill, and you have to do a residential week somewhere and you have to do it with people you don't know. So just one final question for these two before I move on to other questions is say something about the sport at the school. Both of you have been very involved in the sport. How have you both found it?
Well, I think sport again has been such an enjoyable factor in the school for me. I think what's so nice about the sport here is obviously there are like top teams, like the first teams, where the sport is really competitive and we play like a wide variety of other schools. But I think what's so nice about it is there are also lower teams, like they run training to help people who have because I think when you join in year 7, lots of people have never played hockey or netball before. So I think it's so nice that there is that competitive side, but there's also that really supportive and like sociable side of it too.
Yeah, definitely. When I joined here in year 7, I'd never played hockey before, so I didn't really know what I was getting myself into, but I really enjoyed it. It was really fun, a nice chance to mix with new people because everyone takes part in sport. It's just a really supportive and social environment. And all the teachers are so lovely as well. Yeah. They're always supporting you and cheering you, which is really nice. Yeah.
And tell me, often students in their time at school may have at various times, every student will encounter some kind of difficulty, whether it's something at home, whether it's concerns about subjects, whether it's kind of friendship issues. Are you all confident and that you know that you have someone to talk to if you had any difficulty? And for example, if you at this stage, if you had a difficulty about a subject or anything like that, who would you talk to, Ed and Mabel?
So I think I would talk to, if I was having problems, the teachers, my form tutor, parents and friends as well. but I haven't really been having.
No,
any.
sure.
Yes.
Hopefully you've only been here 3
Yes.
weeks, so glad that's great.
And also, I think what's so nice is obviously you get support from teachers, but there's also like a school mentoring scheme where a sixth former is paired with someone in the lower years. And it's so nice because I think there are some issues which people don't. And it's nothing to do with the teacher at our school, but there are some things where it's easy just to talk to like a fellow student. So I think it's so nice that there's that available too.
Yeah, and when I was in year 11, I really struggled with maths, and my teacher picked up on it. I found it quite hard, but in the end, it was all good. And yeah, I was partnered with a sixth former who helped me at lunchtimes, so they really helped me push my grade up, and I was really happy with what I achieved at GCSE.
Yeah, so if pupils are struggling academically as well as kind of revision clinics, we do try to encourage the sixth formers to help out lower school pupils. So I think, Eleanor, you're helping out someone at the moment, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm about to start tutoring someone chemistry, which is going to be interesting.
Yeah, so Eleanor is about to become a chemistry tutor. Just a couple more of other things. Food. I mean, obviously we've had as a school had to make lots of adjustments to COVID. And just so you're aware, all the year groups are in bubbles. So Ed and Mabel are in a bubble, a year 7 bubble. Hence, they're allowed to sit next to each other. And Izzy and Eleanor are in an upper 6 bubble, so they can sit together. The school is zoned. So whereas normally it's the case that the pupils move around the school to the teacher, at the moment the year groups are in zones and the teacher moves towards them, and we keep the year groups separate. It's obviously had an impact on kind of dining arrangements, so the food that we offer is slightly more limited than would normally be the case. But perhaps you could both say, how have you two found the food here?
I think the food here is actually really good. It caters for so many different kinds of people. Like if you're vegetarian, there'll always be at least one option for you, or gluten-free, or anything you need. The school really helps you.
Excellent.
Yeah, as well as the food being really good, there's like marquees. So there's dining hall. The upstairs bit of the dining hall is for year 7, and then for like other years, there's like the bottom bit of the dining hall. There's marquees where other years can sit. So then we're spread out.
Excellent. We really do try, as Mabel said, as Mabel said, to kind of cater for kind of pupils' individual kind of needs. Now, I gather, Izzy, you don't like peas. And can you tell us something about the problem with peas and how that has been sorted?
Yeah, so peas aren't my favourite vegetable, and quite often the lunchtime vegetables are mainly broccoli and peas, so I'd always just say, no thank you, I'm good, and just move along. And then Khan the chef up in sixth form noticed that whenever there were vegetables mixed with peas, I would decline. So one lunchtime I got to the counter, and he went under the counter and he got my own little bowl of vegetables without the peas, and he's literally done that every single day since. He literally noticed it so quickly, so now I have my own little bowl of vegetables minus the peas every day, and it literally the genuine care and like attention that teachers and staff give to you is just amazing. Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't encourage every pupil who doesn't like an individual vegetable to ask for a specific meal, but I think it's typical of the way we do know our pupils that Khan the chef has noticed is he doesn't like peas. Mr. Fast, do we have any other questions?
Yeah, there's a lot coming in the chat. I'll just start throwing them at you if you're happy.
Yeah, please do.
First one, will you be holding interviews with the children as part of the admin process?
No, we don't hold interviews. Often when I see parents for tours, they bring their child with them and I chat to them then. But I've never really believed in interviewing the children as part of the admissions process. In my experience, 10-year-old children, if they're applying for year 7, vary. Some are very confident and chatty, some are understandably very shy. And I'm not sure what one could glean from interviewing them at that age. And I think it would be very, very harsh, for instance, not to offer a child a place on the basis of an interview. So we give the children a chance to come here, and as well as coming here possibly on a tour, they may come here for the experience day. But no, we don't do interviews.
On top of tuition fees, what other costs might I have?
Yeah, the only other cost would be if some of the activities might cost, and the kind of activities that might be incur a cost are if we had to bring in an external coach. So something like, I don't know, karate, for example. If you take kind of karate as an activity, that would be a cost. Or if you do lambda or extra music lessons. But it's very kind of the extra costs are very, very kind of transparent. And of course, another extra cost is school trips. Now, obviously, at the moment, we're not running school trips because of the COVID regulation. But normally, there's a great variety of trips. In the last couple of years, there have been trips to Silicon Valley in California, to Iceland. There's an annual French trip to Paris. There are sports trips. Have you two been on any foreign trips?
Yeah, we both went to Paris for netball, and I also went to Amsterdam for hockey.
I did go on the hockey one, but I went on the netball one, and the girls went for netball and the boys went for football, and we went to Disneyland as well as the sports side of it. But yeah, it was really good. I really enjoyed it.
You just want to say something, Ed?
Yeah, as you say about trips, me and Year 7s went to Bowls this year. We were going to stay the night and do 2 days, but because of COVID, we couldn't sleep there. So we just went for the day. We arrived at 9 o'clock and got back at 9:30.
What did you do there?
So we had a variety of different activities, including mud tunnels, zip wires, sledging, and many more.
Yeah, so thank you for that, Ed. So we in about the third week of Year 7, we do a trip to Bowls. It's a great opportunity for the children to get to know each other. Normally it's residential, it's a Friday and Saturday, but because of COVID, it was just a day trip this year. Mr. Fast?
Is the school strong in particular arts and drama?
Well, the arts and drama have always been extremely strong. I mean, if you were to visit the art room, for example, the kind of quality of art is fantastic. We introduced photography A level about 4 years ago. That is extremely popular, and media is one of the most kind of popular departments. And the thing about media here, it is so popular that it is not necessarily regarded as a lighter or easier subject, and children often combine media with some of the very academic subjects. Drama, as was said, I think by Mr. Casey, we have a whole school production normally in November, and then a lower school production, lower school being years 7, 8, and 9 in the summer. GCSE drama is run both at GCSE and A level, and in addition to that, lambda is very popular.
Does the school offer design and technology subjects?
No, we don't do design and technology. When I arrived 9 years ago, we did do DT, but the kind of facility was very poor, which meant that very few pupils was choosing to do it at GCSE and A level. And so we decided to focus on kind of media, photography, drama, that side of things, rather than design and technology.
Right, I'm just checking others in the chat. One question is, are there any plans in the pipeline to build more facilities?
Well, that's an interesting question. We announced in February that we planned to build and open a boarding house. The plan was to open it for September 22, but then kind of COVID struck and threw all our kind of those plans into disarray. You know, the plan was to tap both the market in southwest London and the international market, but things are so uncertain now that is on ice. And whilst we are in such an uncertain period, we are just going to wait and see what happens, and hopefully the picture will be clearer in a year or two's time, and then we will kind of make firmer plans as to what to do with regard to developments. But what I would say is that a school can never stand still, and whilst there are no firm plans at the moment to build any new facilities, you know, I would be very disappointed if someone would visit the school in say 5 or 10 years' time and there were no additional facilities. You know, I've never wanted to get into what I could call a kind of project war, which I feel some schools have got into, where you build ever more grandiose facilities, not least because that drives up school fees. But on the other hand, a school can't stand still. So it's a question of continuing to invest in the school, but in a way that benefits the pupils and benefits the school long term.
There's one new message appeared. Let me check. What is the academic pace and focus of the school?
The academic pace and focus of the school. Well, yeah, the key thing is that we just want every pupil to achieve their potential. You know, for some pupils, their potential may be 3 C's at A level. For some pupils, their potential may be 3 A stars and an Oxbridge place. But the key thing is, I think, that they are, you know, it is done in an environment where, you know, they feel self-confident, where they feel supported, and where they feel that they are doing the right subjects for them. Perhaps you two could say anything. I mean, in terms of academic pace and support and challenge, you know, how have you found it here?
No, I think, as you said, it really does. I think it really caters for all different academic abilities. So I think if you are someone who excels in certain subjects, school really do push you and make sure you've got enough work, like really to push you, like reach your full potential. For example, they run a chemistry extension club for A level, so we're always going beyond the course. So we're constantly getting better. But then I think on the other end, there's so many help clinics and like the lower sets go really slowly and they get so much support.
Yeah, definitely with GCSE and before the exams, there was always support clinics on where you could do exam practice or even just learning the syllabus. And the teachers are always like, they know their knowledge really well and they can always help you out and they're always happy to give up a lunchtime for you, which is really helpful.
Yeah, I feel like there's no like set pace. It just, they cater to whatever your abilities are, which I think is so important.
Yeah.
Is there an engineering or robotics program?
Well, there's with robotics, we run a robotics club, and as regards engineering, I mean, every year we get pupils who want to study engineering at university, and a couple of years ago we ran an engineering project with an outside company where they're involved in designing, I think it was with boilers, was that correct? And we're about to start a project where they will make and build and design a car. Just to pick up, let's like to go just quickly pick up on the academic point. One thing to stress is that we monitor and track the pupils' progress very, very kind of carefully. So in the years up to in years 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11, they do one set of assessments a term. Reports follow those assessments, and once a year a parents' evening follows that. I myself see all the pupils once a year following a set of assessments. And they're so well tracked that when I see them, not only do I have the written reports in front of me, but I have a kind of data analysis of their progress. And this data analysis allows me to see whether they are performing under or above their potential, whether they're meeting potential. And if they're under their potential, then we very quickly put in measures to help and support them in order that they can meet their potential more effectively.
You have the opportunity for swimming.
Swimming. I've been asked many times about swimming and swimming pools in my time here. I've always been reluctant to consider the option of building a swimming pool simply because it is so incredibly expensive. It would cost, I don't know, 3 or 4 million to build, and the running cost would be probably £250,000 a year, and ultimately parents would have to pay that, which they might not be that enthusiastic about, particularly as in my experience, whilst children, when they are at prep or primary school, love swimming, the enthusiasm for swimming amongst teenagers diminishes fairly quickly. On the other hand, in my time here, we have had some excellent swimmers. For example, last year, this year gone, a girl, Abby Jackson, left the school, and she has gone on to get a swimming scholarship at an American university. And at times, we have been able to put out a very strong swimming team. So whilst we don't take them swimming and don't run swimming in an organised programme, we do, we have on occasion and would do if there's demand, have a swimming team and enter galas.
We have a team, Mr. Bull, in each year group. Usually there's top 6 swimmers in each year group, and we're quite lucky that quite a few of the children swim outside school. And then we compete in regular kind of friendly galas, and then the best swimmers can go to the nationals. So, you know, if you're a keen swimmer and if you're talented, you will get the opportunity to represent the school probably on 5 or 6 different galas, as well as go into kind of, I mean, the national finals are over in the Olympic Park every year. So there is definitely opportunity there. And we do quite well considering we don't actually have a pool yet.
Yet. Mr. Casey can never quite give up on trying to persuade me to persuade the governors to build one. That's great. Well, look, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this morning. I hope you found it informative. I'd just like to thank all my team for their contributions. Thank you very much, Ed, Mabel, Izzy, and Eleanor. Please, if you haven't visited the school and you would like to do so and would like to arrange a tour, please do not hesitate to contact admissions to do so. And hopefully I might meet all of you who are watching today in due course. Thank you very much.